I think it comes from that. It stems from that. I wanted to make sure that they didn't have the same experience that I did in terms
Right,
of not having a dad around.
right.
So it shaped me in that way. I went overboard um, in terms of being there for them, not just financially. That's not the some fathers think, okay, I provide money and that's it, or I provide support financially. But it's even more critical to be emotionally present
Yeah.
for your children. Makes a big difference.
Welcome to Manstory. A lot of the ills in society are due to youth not having positive role models and getting caught up with individuals who influence them on a negative path. Manstory seeks to highlight men in the Caribbean and beyond who are upstanding citizens. No, these men aren't perfect, but they excel in different aspects of society and can encourage the next generation by sharing their own journey with us. Dexter Richard Francis Charles is a father of two awesome girls, Danielle and Mya, and a recent retiree. He is the former senior manager, communications and public relations at First Citizens, where he worked for over 30 years. He's currently a director on the board of the First Citizens Foundation, director Soka and Moka Foundation, and executive member of Kairi People, an event management and promotions company. Dexter is a theater enthusiast and also heavily involved in Carnival, with a keen interest in mentorship and youth development as a whole.
All right. So Dexter Charles, welcome to Man Story.
Thank you very much, Alvin. It's my pleasure. And it's actually Dexter Richard Francis Charles.
Wow.
Just give you
That's
all my Christian names.
that's a lot of names.
Yeah, yeah. Blame my mom for that.
See, okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So tell us who is Dexter.
Right. Uh, Dexter is a retiree right now. Um, but he's also a father. Um, that's the proudest thing I am, a father. Two beautiful girls. Danielle is 34, will turn 34 this year, a dentist. And Maya will turn 18 this year, just finished CXC. And just started a degree at Costat. So a father and a retiree, a happy retiree.
Nice, nice. That sounds good. I think the best thing is to when you retire to be happy that you're in that stage, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clearly you're doing what you want and enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah. I had, you know, unfortunately, my sister passed away last year. Actually, this month, April 21st will be 1 year since she's passed away.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
and I realized it was, it was really about spending quality time with family and loved ones. Because I mean, I don't regret working for. I worked at First Citizens. I'm the former senior manager, communications and public relations at First Citizens.
Mhm.
And I gave First Citizens over 30 years of my life.
Wow.
But I don't regret it. But the thing is that it was coming to a time where I think when my sister died, I realized I really should be spending more time with family and loved ones. So that was the driving force behind that decision.
All right. So on that note, tell me what your early family um story was like. What was that like?
The early days, I had a very happy life. I would imagine as a child, a young man growing up. Unfortunately, my dad, uh, I love my dad dearly, but he left the home very early. Incidentally, both my mom and dad are deceased. Um, may they continue to rest in peace. So my dad left the home kind of early. I was around 10. Um, getting ready for common entrance, as
Okay.
it's known as SEA now, but it's known as common entrance then.
So how did that
Um,
affect you? His him leaving.
Negatively, negatively, I would say, but I was lucky. I had a few strong male role models, which I think is important. Um, one uncle in particular, my mother's brother. So he was a good source of strength for me in terms of having to deal with that whole separation, if you want to call it
Right.
that. Yeah. So I think I was fine. I took on the role of a protector, a big brother, because I have four sisters. I'm the eldest of five children. I have four sisters.
Hmm.
Two unfortunately are deceased.
Okay.
So I have two sisters, two remaining living sisters. One is abroad, and one is here in Trinidad. So I took on the role of protector, uh, taking care of my sisters and my mom, who was at that time, doing her own thing as well as being a single parent at that time.
No, you've experienced a lot. So especially now when we have so many persons who have lost loved ones, how did you handle the loss of those persons close to you?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. I had to dig deep in terms of. I mean, I try to be very positive. I'm a positive person, and
Right.
therefore I try to see the good in everything and everybody. Um, so I kind of dug deep and told myself, and my sister in particular, because she was not well, she was in a lot of pain. So it might sound cliche, but when you tell yourself they're in a better place, there's no more pain, and that's the right. It was and God is in control. God is in control. God knows best. So I had to keep repeating that to myself,
Yeah.
and understanding you already have no control over that. We all have to go at some point. So you have no control. So there's a lot of self talk, I suppose. A lot of self talk um, that kind of kept me going.
It sounds like you have a lot of emotional intelligence, Dexter.
Yes, yes, I do. I think I do.
That's very good because especially nowadays it is so necessary.
Yeah, important, important. I try to stay afloat.
We see people, boxing people on stage and doing some crazy things these days. So,
Wow,
you know,
a serious topic of discussion. Will
listen,
Smith. I was so disappointed in Will Smith. I mean, I can't. I mean, I love the man as an actor, and I know he is a. I'm not sure if it's the character that we see is all kind of built up and staged, but very very disappointing in terms of he dealt a serious blow to a lot of the black man as the first thing, the male that male role model, just I don't know, cracking under pressure. I don't know if you saw his statement. His statement was probably written by someone of his PR people, but
I
he said
have
violence of any kind, and you just exploded. You just exploded without.
I have my theories on that one, but I don't think I should go into it right now.
Yeah, all right, all right. But
I
I
have
was
my theories.
I was disappointed.
I was as well.
Let me just say that.
I actually thought that it he I thought it was a joke initially.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
I
it
thought
was
I thought
scripted.
I thought it was staged actually. Yes, I thought so too. But apparently it
I'm
wasn't.
like, oh wait. And what I find so interesting about it is the fact he was laughing initially,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
saw that.
then I don't know if his wife gave him the look or what, and all of a sudden
He
the
did.
man just
She did. She did give him the look. She did give him the look. And that's why I found nobody's talking about Jada's role in this, but I think she has a role to play in terms
Definitely.
of how this thing turned out. And my gosh, it didn't. I don't know.
And the thing about it now is that he's the only one that's going to pay, right? His
Yeah,
actions, his consequence.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
And I think a lot of young men don't necessarily appreciate that there are going to be consequences. I there's a young man that I taught, and I
Mm,
used to tell him all the while that he needs to be careful. I mean, this is of course a stretch,
yeah,
but I told him he needs to be careful of the company that he keeps,
yeah,
and he had a lot of potential, and my fears concerning him are exactly what happened.
mm,
He got into the wrong crowds and made the headlines.
wow,
Yeah. And have I know that you do a lot of work with the foundations. What are some of the things that you have seen in terms of young men and not making the right choices?
yeah. Well, okay. So I'm currently a director on the First Citizens Foundation, and we have a program. It's called the Young Men's Development Program. Very recent, so a year and a half it started. Um, and we have 10, we have a cohort of 10 that kind of started the program. Very interesting, um, in terms of how they're made up and the kind of challenges that they have. But the key thing is it's really the support and the guidance and the opportunity that you give them that will make the difference.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I think mentorship is critical. I had mentors, official and unofficial, during my life, and they were critical. They were critical at every stage of my life. That's why I think it's important for. That's why they talk about the absence of fathers. Fathers play a critical role. That person to guide and support and help you with your decisions or your indecisions. Uh,
Yeah.
so the challenges are many. The challenges are many. So you have from financial to being in a single parent home, being unable to get opportunities, and therefore you're challenged, being exposed to what I call it, the gang leader,
Yeah.
or that person who is want to lead you in a particular way, but that person is showing you love and affection and listen and a listen and providing a listening ear, and therefore you gravitate to that.
Yeah, I think some persons don't appreciate okay, so there was a student who I taught a couple years back, and he was always distracted in class. And what I did is I sat down beside him and we went through the work with him. And I got him because of what I taught. It was easy for me to do that. I had
Yeah,
a certain level of flexibility
right.
because I created a curriculum. But I sat down with him and we went through the work. Every class, whenever I had his class, he would sit right there and I'd go through the work with him. And I had him in second form going through some electronics questions
Mm,
which were CXE level. But he was distracted in many of the classes. But he did work simply because he didn't have that level of attention at home. And he was getting that level of attention there. And
mm,
so he excelled. And I say that to say this. I don't think parents and people in general of students who do not have it appreciate the importance of spending time with their children,
Hmm.
showing them that the care,
Yeah,
investing. Some people believe is only money, but just him seeing someone with an interest was enough
yeah,
to for him to excel.
yeah, yeah. That's all they need sometimes. That's all they need. But we want the right people to be
Right.
providing that
Exactly. So
that
so when the
services.
gang member, when the gang leader comes and that's where I was going with the thought.
Yeah.
When the gang leader comes and he's the only father that they've seen, the only
Yes.
man that they've seen,
Correct.
it's
Correct.
messed up.
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
in Jamaica, based on a particular study, 90% of gang members come from fatherless homes. That in and of itself shows 90%. Obviously, we need to do something about that. We
Yeah.
need to have the conversation about being in homes and not just being there, but being present while we're there.
Yes. That's the key word. That's the key word. Being present. Being present. That and parenting is critical. I I I don't know. I mean, I have two girls. I love my girls a lot. I don't know what it is to have boy. I'm a girl dad. So, but I think it's the same thing. It's just about being present, um, conversation, having time to be to talk, just to talk. Critical.
How has your experiences shaped how you parent?
In a positive way. I saw the absence of a father figure, so I kind of understood what what that meant, um, how important that was
Right.
to the dedication. I mean, I could describe myself as dedicated, um, dependable, dedication to my children, and I think it comes from that. It stems from that. I wanted to make sure that they didn't have the same experience that I did in terms of,
Right.
of not having a dad around.
Right.
So it shaped me in that way. I went overboard, um, in terms of being there for them, not just financially. That's not the some fathers think, okay, I provide money and that's it, or I provide support financially. But it's even more critical to be emotionally present
Yeah.
for your children. Makes a big difference.
How did you handle the work balance though?
Well, as I said, it was very challenging, um, particularly in the early parts of my career. But I mean, I did manage to, as far as my children were concerned, but it didn't extend to my family members, my sisters in particular. Because remember, as I told you, I ended up being the protector,
Right.
very very early in their life. But I mean, later on, they're both adults now. They're all adults, um, and I really kind of, I don't know, slipped a bit in terms of spending more time with them and being present with them as well, because I think that's important.
True, true. Very true. If you is there any particular thing that comes to mind when you think of challenges that you saw within the youth in the foundation, or any story that stood out to you?
Um, no, I will go back in terms of a career challenge.
Mhm.
Um, that I had. I my track was in operations. I wanted to be a branch manager. That was my goal. Um, and I'm driven like that. I'm driven in terms of I always want to be a better version of myself, and work towards something. So I saw that was my goal, um, and then up came an opportunity from our manager in the bank to switch. He said he wanted me in public relations and marketing at that time.
Okay.
And I had a major decision to make because I was so focused on this track that I
Mhm.
was heading to, because I was a good teller. I was into telling, and I was on the platform opening accounts and so on. And therefore I was going down that road. And he offered me the position in as a PR assistant in his department. And I said, but I don't know anything about PR, and I was already going down, the road of operations, heading to be. I want to be a branch manager at some point.
Right.
And so I mean, it was challenging, but I saw the opportunity, and at that time it was a promotion to a higher grade.
It's never a bad thing.
So I took the opportunity, and I entered that area, changing my direction in a sense. Um, and well, the rest is history. I I ended up kind of going on a different track, and ended up where I ended up as a senior manager in charge of that area. So I mean, it just tells you that people see things in you that you don't necessarily see in yourself. Um, but you have to remain open to anything,
That is true.
and try to be. I mean, don't fit yourself into a box. You have to be as open as possible. I do that still up at this age. I keep myself. I can do anything that I put my mind to. Um,
Nice.
but so you don't keep yourself, in a box. You need to kind of open up. So that was challenging for me, but I got over it. Um, and ended up being a mentor as well. So I got through that with his help, making that decision, and then getting firmly on that track towards public relations and communications.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Have you so clearly in your life from youth until present day, you've always had good mentors. Um, what is it that you would tell youth if you had to tell today's youth? What kind of message would you want to send to them?
Hmm. Well, the thing is, I do have an opportunity where I'm also a mentor right now. I mean, I mentor young men unofficially, but as part of the program,
Mhm.
I have a mentee
Right.
that I mentor right now. And the point is, let me go back to my original. No, so I use a term that I learned from some leadership training that I did very early on when I just got into management. Um, and it speaks to, so it's Paul J. Meyer. That's a leadership management institute, the guy in charge, Paul J. Meyer. And it goes like this: whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
Mm,
And that shaped me because it said to me, and of course the most critical part of that is the enthusiastically act upon, right?
hard work.
We have, and it's all over the country. I think we suffer from what I call implementation deficit. So there's a lot of talk. So you plan and plan and plan, but
Right.
there's no action. Um, So I mean, the young man I'm talking to right now, that's I push him in a particular direction. First of all, have a goal. You must have a goal. It can be a small goal, a large goal. Just have a goal because you have to have something to go at, and then work out the steps to get to that goal, and make sure that you do the relevant actions to get to that goal. But the action is critical, right? So whatever you vividly imagine or ardently desire and sincerely believe and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass. And it's true. It is very true.
Nice, nice. That's so important, especially nowadays. What do you think are some of the major challenges of today's youth?
Yeah, they have so many. I think social media is one. You have the normal peer pressure, but I mean, social media is, while it has its positives, there are a lot of negatives.
Right.
'Cause you call them influencers, but there's some silent influencers that influence young people. So they're bombarded. There's so much coming at them. They are bombarded, and if they don't have the necessary support, I mean, all fall down. If you don't have that person to talk to, that
Yeah,
mentor, it doesn't have to be your official mentor, but somebody to talk to, somebody who can guide and support, then things go awry. So to me, I mean, you have all the distractions, I would call them, um, coming at you, and you can't. Some of you don't know. I mean, even as adults, some adults don't know how to deal with it. Far more
that
for
is
the
true.
far more for the young man who is, who doesn't have that person to talk to and that support, and therefore is making decisions on his own, and not necessarily good ones.
That's very true because especially now when they've been online for so long, I've come to realize a lot of them, they the social skills have become very poor.
Oh my! Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Word.
I deliberately taught my, well, not taught. I encouraged my children, both of them, at a very early age. I didn't do the baby talk, mama, baba, boo, boo, boo. I didn't do that. I had conversation. So at 6 years old, Maya at 6 years old, Maya asked me what was my greatest fear.
Wow,
Daddy, what is your greatest fear? At 6 years old.
that's pretty deep.
I mean, and that's because I encourage conversation. Talk about anything, but have a proper conversation.
Yeah,
What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What's your opinion on this? Um, and that's what I mean. The socials, and I taught them to talk. One second. Yeah, to converse, and not necessarily, and that's part of this. Some young people don't. They feel very uncomfortable having a conversation, particularly with a stranger
yeah.
or even people that they know. So yeah, I agree with you. The social skills are lacking, but we could change that. It's just a matter of encouraging them, and showing them how important it is to have the social skills. Because that would lead to networking, which is a critical part of developing yourself.
That is
So
true.
show them the benefits of that.
That is true. Networking is extremely important.
Yeah, yeah. That helped me a lot in terms of being the person to call. Being the resourceful one. Oh, Dexter knows this person, that person. Call Dex. He will know who to call, and that's because of my networking.
Nice,
Networking
nice.
really kind of develops you in a particular way. Yeah.
That is true.
So yeah, all positive, Alvin. All positive. All positive. But when somebody asks me, "So where you going?" I say, "I got up this morning. I'm fantastic." That's my reply consistently for the past plenty years. Where you going? Great, fantastic. I got up this morning. I do a,
You,
I do a, I do a thankful Thursday every Thursday on my
yeah, and
platform.
I've been watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I try to because there's so much to be thankful for.
that is true.
And believe me, I have a lot to be thankful for. So I put what I'm thankful for every Thursday.
That is true. Because you're right. There is a lot to be thankful for. There
Yeah.
are things you can complain about as well.
Yes,
But when
yes.
you
No,
complain about it, you know,
I,
it's
I ain't saying don't complain. You can
yeah,
complain. It's your right to complain, but don't internalize it
yeah,
in terms of how it affects you. I tell people the serenity prayers. My grandmother taught me that, and up to today, it's still on my dresser. It was on my office wall.
nice.
Because it's the things you have control over, and things that and some things that you don't. But the real thing is the wisdom to know the difference of what you have control over and what you don't have control over, and just
That
leave
is
the rest to God.
so true.
Yeah. So you can complain, but it's your choice in terms of how people impact you. Don't let anybody take your joy at all. I mean, I see that all the time. And in terms of, oh, my Angela said it the best. You could somebody will always remember how you make them feel.
Yeah,
They don't remember what you say or what you do, but how you make them feel, they'll remember. So try and do it positively. Make a positive impact.
so
That's what drives me. That's what drives me all the time. I try to make a positive impact, particularly in my children, a positive impact. My circle of friends, my colleagues, my business partners, make a positive impact. That will help, you know, build the circle
nice.
and end the cycle. Build the circle and end the cycle.
That's a good one. That sounds like a nice tagline.
Yeah, yeah. Build the circle and the cycle.
Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much, Dexter Charles, for being part of Man Story.
That's not a problem. It was my pleasure. I mean I hope I did, you know in terms of raise the awareness and help put the positivity out there. And
Oh, definitely.
if there's some young man listening, please, seek out somebody to talk to, or to help support. Um, Talk to Alvin, give Alvin a call, and let him
Sure, why
guide
not?
you. You could call me and all. Give me a watch, link me on my IG or Facebook. Dexter Richard Francis Charles.
And
Well,
I'll put a link in the description as well.
yeah, yeah.
Good stuff. All
Okay.
right. Well, you have a good evening. You
Thank
take
you very
care.
much, sir. Thank you very much. Be good to yourself, and all the best to the Man series. Good job, by the way. Good job, Alvin.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
this is a good thing you're doing. A space for men to talk, because men
Yeah.
men need to talk.
For real. As we
Men,
were saying before, more talks will probably mean less slaps, right?
yeah, exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh.
Because
I
if
think,
Jedad pulled up and say, "Well, would you come,"
yeah,
he would
him
he
a
wouldn't.
talk.
You didn't give it a thought. You walk across to this man and give him a. You didn't think about. You didn't think about it. You say so. It's some trigger. It's some trigger. I mean, we'll have his user and he going through a lot. So it's some trigger that, and once that goes off, apparently it can't be it can't be pulled back.
But you're quite right. He's going through a heck of a lot, eh?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I do envy him. Because
Yeah.
they say most men can't take it, but we're taking a
Trust
lot.
me.
We're taking a lot.
For real. For real.
He lived in the fishbowl lives.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he have the world looking on. So
Yeah.
that is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that
That
is
is a
true.
lot of pressure. So I do envy him, but at the same time, brother, he made a mistake. That's a serious mistake he made there.
For real.
Serious mistake he made. Don't
For
do
real.
it. Don't do it. Okay, Alvin.
Yeah, man. You take care.
You keep good. You too.